Hello, everybody. It's time for another mic drop moment. Today, I've decided that we're going to talk a little bit about the recent changes to Facebook's newsfeed called Facebook Zero. A couple weeks ago, Mark Zuckerberg announced that the reach of business pages within the news feed of users' Facebook news feeds is going to be dramatically reduced, so they can focus more on friends and family communicating on Facebook. It was kind of their core value that they identified when they started, and they feel like they kind of got away from it. So they're trying to reduce the amount of things you're seeing from business pages on your organic feed. Now, why they were doing this, there's a super interesting article that was just published on Wired. I think it's in March's issue of Wired magazine, but it's available online right now. It's called "The Inside the 2 Years That Shook Facebook," and it kind of goes into kind of Mark Zuckerberg's thinking and leading into the election and leading out of the election, and then all the government stuff that was pulling Facebook representatives in, talking about how potentially it was used by Russian agents to steal an election. And I don't want to get into politics here, but there are some valid concerns there. And I think Mark Zuckerberg actually took maybe some personal responsibility for what had happened throughout that whole stuff. And he's not quite as I think he's become a little jaded with the power of digital now, instead of being the 100% optimist. And so some of these changes are being made to kind of combat that. Long story short, what can you as a business do now that your reach is going to be effectively reduced to zero? Not that it was great to begin with anyway. But yes, so businesses now, you have to focus, instead of just posting, just hitting a certain number of posts, you have to think about what you're posting. You want to post things that engage your users, that get people talking, commenting, liking, sharing organically. You don't want to post what's called clickbaity stuff. You don't want to post something that's like this if you like chocolate, because practically everybody likes chocolate. So you're going to get a ton of likes. Facebook's going to recognize it as clickbaity, and you're not going to get any sort of reach for that whatsoever. So you have to post things like interesting Facebook Live feeds explaining cool things in the digital marketing scene, and that kind of stuff can get engagement, and you'll start to see some of your organic reach there. So the key is to think about your posts before you post them. See what you're doing in that post to drive conversation and engagement. And then look, as you post things, look at what's doing well, what's not doing well, and do more of the things that are driving engagement, and ignore the stuff that just kind of falls on deaf ears. So that's what you can do moving forward. And then, of course, Facebook's always happy to take your money. And so the Facebook ads platform is still available. We can still just pay to get your content there in front of your users in their news feeds, and in front of new users as well. So this Facebook Zero thing won't affect it too much on the ad side, except we totally expect that our costs are going to go up, because they're reducing the amount of things that are showing up in users' news feeds. People are going to spend less time on Facebook, and less time means less potential impressions. And so the impressions that we're bidding on, they're going to start becoming a little more expensive. And so don't be surprised if you see your Facebook costs start to increase as this Facebook Zero thing rolls out fully. I think it's going to take a couple weeks, they said. So keep that in mind as well. And that's about it. That's the low down and dirty on Facebook Zero. 3 key takeaways: focus on making your content engageable. Mark Zuckerberg calls it, he wants people to feel like the time they spend on Facebook is time well spent. So try to make your posts kind of convey that. Don't focus on clickbait, and then expect costs to rise in ads. And that is it for this week's mic drop. Consider that mic dropped.